gangs continue to pose a serious threat to public safety and community stability across Texas. With deep-rooted ties to drug trafficking, human smuggling, and violent crime, these organizations have become increasingly organized and dangerous. From large prison-based gangs like the Texas Syndicate and the Texas Mexican Mafia to street-level groups such as Tango Blast, their influence reaches from urban centers to rural communities. Many of these gangs have built strong connections with powerful Mexican drug cartels, enabling them to control drug routes and carry out transnational crimes. The result is a surge in violence, including murders, assaults, and drive-by shootings, often linked to turf wars and drug disputes. In addition, recruitment efforts in schools and neighborhoods continue to fuel their growth. Understanding the structure, activities, and history of these gangs is essential to developing effective strategies to combat their influence and restore safety to Texas communities. Tango Blast, also known as Puro Tango Blast, has emerged as one of the most significant and rapidly expanding gang threats in Texas. Originating within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, TDCJ, in the late 1980s, Tango Blast began as a collective of Hispanic inmates from major Texas cities, seeking protection from established prison gangs like the Texas Syndicate and Mexican Mafia. Over the decades, it has evolved into a decentralized yet formidable network with an estimated membership ranging from 17,000 to over 19,000 individuals statewide. Tango Blast's inception was rooted in the need for mutual protection among inmates from cities such as Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin, collectively referred to as the Four Horsemen. Each city's group, or Tango, operated semi-independently, fostering a sense of hometown allegiance. Unlike traditional prison gangs, Tango Blast eschewed rigid hierarchies and formal initiation rituals, allowing for more fluid membership and rapid expansion. This loose structure has contributed to its appeal, particularly among younger individuals and ex-convicts seeking affiliation without the stringent commitments demanded by other gangs. Symbols such as the Houston Astros star, Dallas Cowboys star, and area codes like 713 and 214 are commonly associated with Tango Blast, reflecting its city-based identity. Tango Blast's growth within the TDCJ has been notably rapid. One contributing factor is the department's classification system. Unlike other recognized security threat groups, Tango Blast members are not automatically placed in administrative segregation. This policy allows them to remain in the general prison population, facilitating recruitment and the continuation of gang activities. The gang's presence is significant in various TDCJ facilities, including Clemens Unit, recognized as the birthplace of Tango Blast; Torres Unit, site of early confrontations with rival gangs; Robertson Unit, location of violent incidents involving Tango Blast members; and John B. Connolly Unit, a hotspot for gang-related violence and retaliatory attacks. Tango Blast members are implicated in a wide array of criminal activities, both within prison walls and in the broader community. These include drug trafficking, human smuggling, assault, robbery, and murder. Human smuggling operations. In May 2025, two Tango Blast members, Juan Miguel Regalado and Samuel Grajeda Jr., were sentenced for their roles in human smuggling attempts involving high-speed pursuits. Regalado led a chase reaching 100 miles per hour before fleeing into Mexico, while Grajeda crashed during another pursuit, leading to the discovery of 4 migrants in the vehicle. In November 2008, a gunfight outside a Dallas nightclub involving Tango Blast members resulted in the death of Alejandro Vasquez. Earlier that year, member Jesus Elizondo was convicted of manslaughter for the shooting death of a 15-year-old boy. In December 2008, 10 members of the West Texas Tango Gang were arrested in connection with a major cocaine and meth trafficking ring. Tango Blast's rise has not been without conflict. The gang has engaged in violent confrontations with several rival groups. Barrio Azteca. A series of violent incidents between the two gangs occurred in the early 2000s, including stabbings and retaliatory beatings across multiple prison units. Texas Syndicate declared war on Tango Blast in 2002, leading to a series of violent encounters, including the murder of a Tango Blast member at the J.B. Connolly unit. These rivalries have contributed to the volatile environment within Texas prisons and have spilled over into communities, exacerbating gang-related violence. Tango Blast's influence extends beyond the prison system into various Texas communities. The gang has established a presence in major metropolitan areas, including Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, and the Rio Grande Valley. In Austin alone, there are 456 documented members, while San Antonio and Houston report 3,800 and 2,500 members, respectively. The gang's decentralized structure allows for adaptability and resilience, enabling it to infiltrate various aspects of community life, from schools to local businesses. Recruitment often targets youth, with some individuals joining as early as middle school. Tango Blast has established connections with Mexican drug cartels, facilitating the trafficking of narcotics and humans across the U.S.-Mexico border. These alliances enhance the gang's operational capabilities and expand its criminal enterprises. The gang's involvement in transnational criminal activities underscores its evolution from a prison-based protection group to a significant player in organized crime. Recognizing the threat posed by Tango Blast, Texas law enforcement agencies have intensified efforts to combat the gang's activities. The Texas Department of Public Safety classifies Tango Blast as a Tier 1 gang, indicating the highest level of threat. Tango Blast's ascent reflects a shift in gang dynamics within Texas, characterized by decentralized structures, flexible affiliations, and expansive criminal enterprises. Its ability to adapt and integrate into communities complicates traditional law enforcement approaches, necessitating innovative and collaborative strategies to mitigate its influence. As Tango Blast continues to evolve, understanding its origins, structure, and operations remains critical for developing effective countermeasures and ensuring public safety across Texas. Tango Blast is one of the largest and fastest-growing prison and street gangs in Texas. Unlike many other gangs, it lacks a centralized leadership structure, making it harder to track and control. Members typically align themselves with specific cities like Houston, Houston, Dallas, D-Town, Austin, ATX, or San Antonio, San Anto. While Tango Blast as a whole is not known for a rigid hierarchy or universally recognized leaders, some members have become particularly dangerous or high-profile due to their involvement in violent crimes, drug trafficking, or affiliations with Mexican cartels. Here's an overview of what makes some Tango Blast members considered among the most dangerous. Members with cartel connections, some Tango Blast cliques, have formed alliances with Mexican cartels, like the Gulf Cartel or Los Zetas, acting as drug couriers, enforcers, or distributors. These members are particularly dangerous due to access to large quantities of narcotics, involvement in weapons trafficking, and connections to cross-border violence. Violent enforcers or hitmen, some members have been convicted of murders or targeted killings, retaliatory violence against rival gang members or law enforcement, armed robberies, and aggravated assaults. Ex-convicts leading local chapters. In some Texas cities, released inmates who earned respect in prison now run local operations. These individuals often recruit younger members from the streets, maintain strong ties with prison contacts, and organize local criminal enterprises. The next gang is the Texas Syndicate. This is one of the most notorious and structured prison gangs in the United States, with a strong presence in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, TDCJ. Formed as a response to protection needs and ethnic tensions within California prisons, TS quickly evolved into a highly disciplined, violent criminal enterprise operating both behind bars and on the streets. This document explores the origins of the Texas Syndicate, its internal structure, key gang-related incidents, and the prisons where it remains most active. The Texas Syndicate was founded in 1971 at Folsom Prison in California. It emerged as a response to the dominance and aggression of California prison gangs such as the Mexican Mafia, La M, and the Aryan Brotherhood. These gangs routinely preyed upon newly arrived inmates, particularly Mexican-American inmates from Texas, who were often unaligned with West Coast Latino gangs. Initially composed of a small group of Texas inmates seeking protection and cultural solidarity, the TS distinguished itself by its strict code of loyalty, discipline, and internal governance. Unlike other prison gangs at the time, TS did not simply offer protection. It demanded full commitment and control over its members' actions inside and outside prison. The Texas Syndicate operates under a paramilitary hierarchy. At the top is the chairman, followed by lieutenants, captains, and soldiers, known as carnales. Decisions are made through a collective leadership council, and disobedience is harshly punished, often by death. Key principles of the TS include no homosexuals or informants, absolute loyalty to the gang, obedience to superiors without question, contribution to the gang's criminal activities. Each member is voted in after proving his loyalty, and leaving the organization is only permitted through death or severe consequences. Though formed in California, the Texas Syndicate's operations moved primarily to Texas in the early 1980s, particularly as more Texas inmates returned from California prisons and carried the TS code with them. The gang quickly gained traction in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, TDCJ, and spread across dozens of prison units. Some of the key TDCJ prisons where the Texas Syndicate has maintained a strong presence include Polunsky Unit, known for housing death row inmates and being a hub for gang-related violence. Connolly Unit, a high-security facility that has seen multiple TS-related assaults and drug trafficking rings. All-Red Unit, located in North Texas. TS members have clashed here with other gangs like Tango Blast. McConnell Unit, one of the most violent prisons in the state. TS operates both protection and extortion rackets. Hughes Unit, site of past stabbings and power struggles involving TS and the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. Within these units, TS operates with militaristic precision, controlling contraband trade, orchestrating hits, and maintaining communication with outside members. The Texas Syndicate is involved in a wide array of criminal activities, both within prison and in the free world. Some of its primary operations include drug trafficking, partnering with Mexican cartels to smuggle heroin, methamphetamine, and cocaine into Texas and distribute through urban networks. Murder for hire. TS has been linked to contract killings both inside and outside of prison, targeting rival gang members and defectors. Extortion and protection rackets. TS charges non-members for protection and often targets weaker inmates for financial exploitation. Human trafficking and smuggling. Especially in border towns, TS has engaged in smuggling humans across the U.S.-Mexico border. TS uses coded language, dead drops, and burner phones to manage operations from behind bars. In many cases, high-ranking members continue leading TS from solitary confinement or segregation units. As the TS expanded in Texas prisons, conflict erupted with the Mexican Mafia, which sought dominance over Latino inmates. This war resulted in numerous prison murders and solidified TS's independent power base. The rivalry was marked by brutal stabbings and political maneuvering within TDCJ. This FBI-led operation led to the arrest of multiple TS leaders for drug trafficking and racketeering in Austin and San Antonio. It revealed the gang's deep involvement in organized crime and ties to Mexican drug cartels. An internal power struggle over leadership and drug profits led to multiple executions of TS members. The FBI later indicted over a dozen members on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, trafficking, and weapons violations. In West Texas, a violent rivalry emerged between the TS and Barrio Azteca. especially in El Paso and the border city of Juarez. The conflict was fueled by competition for cartel contracts and control of smuggling corridors. TS was involved in a turf war with Bloods, Crips, and MS-13 over heroin and meth distribution in Houston's 5th Ward. Numerous homicides were linked to this conflict, including retaliatory killings and public shootouts. Over the years, federal law enforcement agencies have prioritized the TS as a serious organized crime threat. Several high-profile cases have disrupted its operations. Operation Broken Triangle, 2012. Targeted TS leadership in South and Central Texas. Multiple indictments for conspiracy, trafficking, and money laundering. RICO charges, 2004. Federal prosecutors used the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, to charge TS members as part of an ongoing criminal enterprise. These cases led to life sentences for several lieutenants. Informant turnarounds. Some former TS members turned state witnesses, exposing internal structures and operations. However, these individuals often faced assassination attempts and required federal witness protection. While TS originated as a prison gang, it has steadily expanded its street-level operations. The gang has a visible presence in Austin, major hub for recruitment and distribution. San Antonio, longtime center of TS activity, especially in the West Side. Houston, site of drug sales, gang alliances, and extortion. Laredo and McAllen, border towns where TS works closely with Mexican cartels. Dallas and Fort Worth, growing influence due to drug corridors and prison reentry. TS operates low-profile businesses and fronts, sometimes blending into legitimate enterprises to launder money and hide gang affiliations. The gang's presence is known in schools, clubs, and street corners across Texas. As of the 2020s, the Texas Syndicate remains less publicly visible than larger gangs like MS-13 or the Mexican Mafia, but it continues to exert major influence. Key trends include decline in numbers but increase in violence. TS membership has become more exclusive, with fewer but more dedicated members. Strong ties to Mexican cartels, especially with the Gulf Cartel and CJNG, enhancing its role in transnational crime. Strategic alliances with white supremacist gangs, such as the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas in mutual criminal ventures. Focus on quality over quantity. TS increasingly recruits members with criminal experience or gang leadership skills. The Texas Syndicate's adaptability has allowed it to endure for over 5 decades. Despite pressure from law enforcement and rival gangs, it remains a potent force in Texas's criminal underworld. The Texas Syndicate is a prime example of how prison gangs can evolve into powerful organized crime groups. From its beginnings in Folsom Prison to its current operations in Texas's most secure units and major cities, TS has demonstrated a lethal combination of discipline, organization, and violence. While law enforcement has made significant inroads against the gang, its deep entrenchment in both the penal system and street-level crime continues to pose a serious threat. Understanding the history and reach of the Texas Syndicate is essential to tackling gang violence in Texas and beyond. And possible the most dangerous is the Mexican Mafia, also known as La M, is one of the most notorious and powerful prison gangs in the United States. While the original Mexican Mafia emerged in California during the 1950s, a separate but ideologically aligned organization known as the Texas Mexican Mafia developed in the Lone Star State. Also referred to as Mexicanemi, the Texas Mexican Mafia has grown into a feared and well-organized syndicate deeply entrenched in the state's prisons and extending its influence to the streets. This document explores the rise of the Texas Mexican Mafia, highlighting its origins, operations, violent incidents, and the prison institutions where it has solidified its power. The Texas Mexican Mafia, or Mexicanemy, was founded in 1984 at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, TDCJ, Caulfield Unit, a high-security prison located in East Texas. Unlike its California counterpart, which was established decades earlier by Chicano inmates seeking protection and influence within the California prison system, the Texas Mexican Mafia was formed by Texas-born Mexican-American inmates who felt alienated from other prison gangs. The founding of Mexicanemy was largely a reaction to the increasing control exerted by other prison gangs such as the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, the Texas Syndicate, and Nuestra Familia. These groups often targeted Hispanic inmates or failed to provide sufficient protection. Mexicanemy emerged as a structured, militaristic organization designed to unite incarcerated Mexican Americans in Texas under one powerful banner. Its motto, La Raza Unida, the Race United, signified a strong ethnic and cultural bond among its members. The Texas Mexican Mafia operates under a highly structured command system. At the top is a leadership council, often referred to as the Mesa Table, which consists of high-ranking members responsible for decisions concerning drug distribution, conflict resolution, membership, and internal discipline. Below them are lieutenants, soldiers, and recruits who serve the organization both inside and outside of prison. To become a full-fledged member, or carnal, one must demonstrate loyalty and commit acts of violence, often involving the murder of rival gang members or perceived traitors. The initiation process is rigorous and violent, designed to ensure absolute loyalty to the organization. The Texas Mexican Mafia has developed a wide array of criminal enterprises, both in prison and on the streets. The gang's influence allows it to coordinate operations across Texas and even into neighboring states and Mexico. The gang uses prisons as command centers to orchestrate these operations. Inmates communicate with outside members using coded letters, cell phones, and corrupt staff. Many street gangs in Texas, particularly those in Mexican-American neighborhoods, have been either absorbed by or allied with Mexicanemy, allowing the organization to broaden its influence. Throughout its history, the Texas Mexican Mafia has been involved in numerous violent confrontations with rival gangs and law enforcement. These incidents often reflect the gang's willingness to use extreme violence to maintain dominance. One of the most violent phases in the gang's history occurred in San Antonio, a city with a significant Mexican-American population and deep gang rivalries. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, Mexicanemy battled with the Texas Syndicate and local street gangs for control of drug territories. These turf wars led to dozens of homicides, often involving brutal executions and public shootouts. Notably, in 2001, federal authorities launched Operation Gangbuster, a major investigation targeting Mexicanemy members involved in a series of murders. Dozens of members were arrested, including high-ranking leaders operating from within the Beto and Connolly units of the TDCJ. In 2008, a major prison riot erupted at the Willacy County Correctional Center in Raymondville, Texas. The riot was allegedly triggered by conflict between the Texas Mexican Mafia and other inmate groups. The violence resulted in numerous injuries and exposed the gang's ability to orchestrate large-scale disruption. In 2012, a sweeping federal indictment charged 34 members and associates of the Texas Mexican Mafia with racketeering, drug trafficking, and murder. Among the incidents cited was the killing of a gang member who had failed to turn over a portion of his drug profits to the organization. This indictment marked one of the largest coordinated efforts by the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, to cripple the gang's leadership. The Texas Mexican Mafia maintains a stronghold in several TDCJ facilities, where it recruits, trains, and governs inmate conduct. The following are key prisons where the gang has established significant influence. As the birthplace of Mexicanemy, the Caulfield Unit remains one of its most symbolic strongholds. The prison has a long history of gang violence, much of it involving clashes between the Mexican Mafia and other groups like the Aryan Brotherhood and the Texas Syndicate. The Connolly unit has been the site of multiple gang-related murders, including hits ordered by Mexican Mafia leaders. The facility is known for its high-security inmates and frequent lockdowns due to gang activity. Beto Unit. Another high-profile facility, the Beto Unit has been a key location for drug smuggling and extortion operations managed by Mexicanimi. Members use prison jobs and access to trade goods to control internal economies and assert dominance. McConnell Unit, located in South Texas, this prison has a high population of Hispanic inmates and has witnessed several gang-related murders and stabbings. It is believed that orders for street-level drug operations often originate from this facility. Known for housing some of the state's most dangerous inmates, Darrington has seen its share of Mexican Mafia presence. The gang uses its influence here to recruit younger inmates and indoctrinate them into its code. Although rooted in the prison system, the Texas Mexican Mafia exerts significant control on the outside. In urban areas such as Houston, San Antonio, Austin, El Paso, and Dallas, the gang operates as a shadow government over street-level dealers and small gangs. These groups often pay a tax or quota to Mexicanimi for the right to operate in their territories. Street enforcers, many of them ex-convicts, are responsible for collecting taxes, punishing defectors, and maintaining order. This hierarchical command ensures that the gang's rules are enforced consistently, creating a semi-paramilitary structure. Over the years, federal and state agencies have targeted the Texas Mexican Mafia with increasing force. The RICO Act, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, has been particularly effective in dismantling leadership networks by holding them accountable for crimes committed by the organization. Despite these efforts, the gang continues to adapt, using encrypted messaging, proxy members, and compartmentalized cells to evade detection. In recent years, the Texas Mexican Mafia has developed working relationships with Mexican drug cartels, including the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas. These partnerships have allowed Mexicanimi to expand its drug trafficking operations and secure more powerful weaponry. Such transnational links make the gang even more dangerous and difficult to dismantle. The flow of narcotics from Mexico to Texas, often through cartel-controlled routes, feeds directly into the gang's street operations and prison economies. The rise of the Texas Mexican Mafia reflects a broader trend in the evolution of prison gangs into sophisticated criminal enterprises. What began as a protective alliance for Mexican-American inmates in the 1980s has become a statewide and increasingly international criminal network. The gang's command structure, use of violence, and deep penetration into both prisons and street communities make it one of the most formidable threats in Texas.